Chapter 7. Out of the Woods. Numb with cold and fatigue, Rand reaches the edge of Emond's Field at dawn. He can see smoke rising from the rooftops, then realizes it's thicker than it should be. Remembering the Trollocs passing him from the direction of the village, he starts to worry. When he sees that the first house is nothing but charred rubble, his hope turns into despair. He keeps walking, seeing soot-stained villagers picking through the ruins of their homes, while other houses are untouched. 3 huge bonfires intended for bell-time, attended by several men, as the mare's Durant stallions drag covered bodies toward them. He's approached by Harold Luhan, with a burn across his chest and clutching an axe. Master Luhan checks on Tam and asks, "Trollocs?" "Here too." He needs the wisdom. The blacksmith shouts out to Egwene, who runs over to them, arms full of bandages. Appalled, she says, "Oh no, Rand, not your father. Come, I'll take you to Nynaeve." With Master Luhan's aid, Rand carries the litter following Egwene. He's still stunned. He'd survived the night on the hope that Emond's Field would be a haven. Egwene brings them to the Calder house, then tells them to wait while she enters. Rand notices that Mat's home has been destroyed, and Master Luhan quickly tells him, "Mat's alive. It's a wonder anyone survived. They came after my home and forge as if I had treasure to find. Alsbeth cracked one skull with a frying pan. After seeing the ashes of our house, she took our biggest hammer and went out looking for them. I could almost pity the things if she finds them. Mistress Calder and those still with homes have taken in the homeless and injured. When Nynaeve has seen to Tam, we'll get him a bed in the inn. Bran offered it up already, but the wisdom says the wounded will heal better if they're not all together. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. They're gone now, so we'll pick up the pieces and rebuild. I must go. There's work waiting. Don't worry, lad. The wisdom will take care of Tam. The light will care for all of us. And if it doesn't, well, we're 2 rivers folk, so we'll care for ourselves." Nynaeve came out of the house with Egwene, looking tired and dirty, but Rand notices that her hands are scrubbed clean like Egwene's. She bent down to check on Tam, feeling his fever and frowning, pulling up his crude bandage to see the wound. Sighing, she stands and tells Rand, "There's nothing I can do." "I'm sorry, Rand." For a moment he stood in confusion, then cries, "He's dying! You're the wisdom, you have to do something." Her face twists in pain for a moment, then tells him, "I know what I can do with my medicines, and I know when it's too late. Don't you think I'd help if I could? But I can't, Rand, and there are people that I can help who need me," he says quietly. "I brought him to you as quick as I could," gently Nynaeve says. "I know you did. It isn't your fault. You did the best you could. I am sorry." She turns and enters the house as Egwene hugs him, saying how sorry she is. Nynaeve calls for Egwene to come and remember to wash her hands. Egwene apologizes, but she must go. Stood alone with Tam, Rand decides that the mayor will know what to do. Picking up the litter, he heads for the inn, passing one of the Durrans, and the covering of a body shifts to reveal a Trolloc. All that was left of Padan Fain's wagon was smoking rubble outside the inn, which only had a few scorch marks. Tom Merrilin was sat outside, and when he sees Rand he runs over. Grabbing the other side of the litter, he says, "Inside?" "Yes, of course. Don't you worry, boy. Your wisdom will take care of him. I've watched her skill all night. Some died last night. Not as many as feared, though. Fain has disappeared, and Trollocs eat the dead, so thank the light you saved your father, boy." Reaching the wine spring, Rand sees the dragon's fang scrawled on the door of the inn. He wonders who would accuse the mayor or his family of evil, or bring them bad luck. In the common room, they find Bran at the table writing. At first, Bran is annoyed at being disturbed until Rand speaks up. The mayor is overjoyed to see them, saying, "I was afraid you were both dead. Bella galloped into the village after the Trollocs had left. We'll take Tam upstairs. Go find the wisdom, Master Merrilin, and tell her I said to hurry." Taking the litter from the gleeman, Bran helps get Tam upstairs. Rand tells him, "Nynaeve already said she couldn't help him." I'd hoped you'd think of something. The mayor looked sharply at Tam and now looks worried. Using one of the guest rooms, they settle Tam into bed and light the fire in the hearth. She will not come, Tom announced when he returned. Then to Rand he says, You didn't tell me she'd already seen him. She nearly took my head off. Rand admits, I'd hoped the mayor could make her see him again. Master Althea, what can I do? I just can't watch him die. Do you have any ideas? Tom replies with, I was just wondering if the mayor knew who drew the dragon's fang on his door. Someone seems to dislike him. Or is it his guests they object to? Rand looks at him in disgust at the change of subject. Rand says, It's probably the work of a Coplin or Conga. Tom asks him, Was that the wagon load who arrived this morning, complaining the Beltane was cancelled, as if they couldn't see the village in ashes? Master Althea nods, adding, Yes, they're one branch of the family. That fool Darl Coplin spent half the night demanding I turn out Mistress Moraine and Master Lamb, as if there'd be any village left without them. Rand asks what he means, and Bran explains, Why, she caught lightning out of the clear sky and sent it at the Trollocs. Master Lamb was a whirlwind with his sword. The man himself is a weapon. Winter night visits just beginning, arms full of presents, and then the dogs start barking. Then the two of them burst out of the inn shouting about Trollocs. I thought they were drunk, and then the streets were full of the beasts, slashing at us with swords and torching houses. He made a sound of disgust. We just ran around like chickens from a fox until Master Land put some backbone into us. Tom tells Bran, You did as well as you could. Not every Trolloc lying dead fell to the pair. Master Althea gives his head a shake, saying, Yes, well, it's still too much to believe. An Aes Sedai in Emond's Field, and Lan is her warder. Rand breaks in with, An Aes Sedai? She can't be. I talked to her. Bran tells him, Did you think Aes Sedai wear signs? Suddenly Bran slaps his forehead and adds, Aes Sedai, I'm an old fool losing my wits. There's a chance, Rand, if you're willing to take it. I can't tell you what to do. When Rand says he'll take any chance, Bran explains, Aes Sedai can heal. Burn me, lad, you've heard the stories. They can cure where medicine fails. Gleeman, you should have known about this with all your tales. Why didn't you speak her? Tom tells him, I'm a stranger here, and I don't want anything to do with Aes Sedai myself. Best the idea come from you. The coin in Rand's pocket seems to feel like burning coal now, and he thinks about how Aes Sedai help and their gifts usually have a hook in them. The mayor tells him, No one wants to get involved with Aes Sedai, but it's the only chance I can see. It has to be your decision, boy, but I've seen nothing but good from Moraine Sedai. Rand decides to find her, and they tell him she's overseeing the disposal of the Trolloc bodies. Regardless of his fatigue, he runs over the bridge as quick as he could. He finds Moraine sat on the ground, while Lan pulls badges off the bodies to inspect. Lan tells her, Cobal, that makes 7 bands so far. Moraine responds, That many bands haven't worked together since the Trolloc Wars. Rand stood watching her in silence for a moment, then calls out, Moraine Sedai? Her face was tired, yet all he could think was how Aes Sedai were the breakers of the world. Looking up at him, she says, A little more light in the darkness. How are your dreams, Randall 4? If you have nightmares, you must tell me. I can help with bad dreams. Ignoring her question, he tells her, My father is hurt. Just a scratch, really, but the fever is burning him up. The wisdom says she can't help. It said Aes Sedai can heal. If you can help, I'll pay any price in my power. Moraine replies, We will speak of price later. I can make no promises. I will do what I can, but I cannot stop the wheel from turning. Death comes to us all sooner or later, unless they serve the shadow, and only fools are willing to pay that price, adds Lan. Moraine tells him, Don't be so gloomy, Lan. We have some reason to celebrate. Take me to your father, Rand. Too many have refused to let me help. Rand leads them to the inn, but he has to slow for Moraine to catch up. Lan tells him, She is exhausted. Even with an angry owl, what she did last night almost drained her. Moving as quickly as the Aes Sedai could, they move on. Thank you for listening to Tel'aran'rhiod's Audible. If you like what you hear, please leave a like and maybe a subscribe as well to help a new channel get off the ground. Thank you.